what do you make of Trump's picks and the likely impact on South Asia?
Well, if there's one thing in common between most of these picks so far, it is that we are looking at individuals who are very strong proponents of partnership with India, and they are also very tough critics of China and also Pakistan. So what this tells me at this point is that we can expect this cabinet, or at least the members that Trump has decided to pick to this point, will essentially support the status quo U.S. policy in South Asia, which is essentially reflected in the Indo-Pacific policy, which is a policy that Trump himself first came out with when he was president the first time, and it's very much about great power competition. It's very much about countering China.
Okay, so India will continue, looks like that India will continue to play a major partner with the U.S. Is that true?
Yes, though I think that would have been the case no matter who Trump's picks were, and also no matter who won the election. I think that it's quite clear now that in Washington there's a lot of strong bipartisan support for partnership with India, though indeed, that Mr. Trump has picked several individuals who are especially well known for being very robust proponents of partnership with India, and you have in one case someone who is playing a lead role in the India caucus on Capitol Hill. So these are picks that are not only proponents of partnership with India, but they also just know a lot about the U.S.-India relationship and have been very engaged in it.
Right, and if I ask you about Pakistan, how do you, what is your opinion that how can Pakistan increase its influence or somehow create a positive impact or something that Pakistan can offer to Trump's administration?
If we assume that Islamabad wants relations to be good with the Trump administration, I think it does, then I think that in that case, Pakistan is at a disadvantage because we're likely going to see Donald Trump continue what the Biden administration did and what Trump did when he was president the first time, and that is to look at South Asia, including Pakistan, through the lens of great power competition. And that means the Indo-Pacific policy will loom large. And of course, the Indo-Pacific policy is about countering China. However, Pakistan, unlike the other countries in South Asia, is a close ally of China. So I think that that really means that Pakistan is really stuck. And at the end of the day, is not really seen from a U.S. perspective, is not seen as having a role in the Indo-Pacific policy. Even though U.S. officials to this point have been ambiguous about Pakistan's role, they have not said that it is not a part of it, but they have been ambiguous about it. And that suggests to me that it could be very difficult for Pakistan to get that strategic focus, to get that type of attention in Washington with this next administration.
Okay, and Michael, how would you react on currently jailed Imran's party PTI's highly placed hopes on Trump to get him out? Is it a misplaced hope, or will Trump truly do something for his friend as his party claims?
I think
or some of his party members claim.
Right. We have to distinguish between two possible scenarios. One is where Trump actually advocates for Khan to be released and he tries to pressure the Pakistani authorities to release him. I don't think that's very likely. The second scenario, which I think is a bit more likely, is that Trump would bring up Imran Khan, that he would, in some cases, perhaps via social media or something, bring attention to Khan's plight and say that he thinks it's not right. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I think that's more likely to happen just because, indeed, as I understand it, PTI members and supporters have met with Trump's team over the last year or so. So Trump knows about Imran Khan. He remembers him. He knows what Khan is going through. So that suggests that he may be in a position to say something about it. But I just find it hard to believe that Trump, with everything that'll be in his mind, with all of the priorities he's going to have, that he would decide to make a big issue of Imran Khan. It's not clear to me that he views Khan as a friend. This is where I'm a bit confused. I don't necessarily think that he would feel a strong incentive to go out of his way to try to make a pitch for Khan to be freed. I just don't see that to be the case.
Right. Here in Pakistan, there are a lot of speculations about this. So if hypothetically speaking, if Trump were to intervene for Imran's release, who will he turn to? Which is the first scenario that you also mentioned in your previous response. Would it be MBS of Saudi Arabia or could it be MBZ of UAE? if he gets directly involved?
I mean, I think if we have to, this is purely hypothetical. If Trump decided he really did want to try to place pressure on Pakistan to get Khan freed, he would have to go to the army. I mean, that's where it comes to. I'm not sure about external involvement. I mean, one cannot rule that out for sure. The Saudis could be a factor in this regard, but again, to me, it just seems like a bit of an unrealistic scenario. Let me just make this one quick point. I think that it's a misconception to think that it's only the Biden administration, only officials of the Biden administration that were, for whatever reason, not inclined to want to help Khan, didn't feel very comfortable with him. You have to look at broader Washington. I would argue that many Republicans and Democrats did not necessarily have a good view of Khan because of some of the things he said and did in previous years, such as threatening to shoot down drones, perceptions that he was very close to the Taliban. I would argue that several of these new picks that Trump has made for his cabinet, that they wouldn't feel very fond of Khan. So I think if anything were to happen, it would have to be a unilateral move, so to speak, by Trump himself, egged on or encouraged by people close to him who know what Khan is going through. So I think it's important not to assume that just because there's a new administration that's not the Biden administration, and just because you have a new administration that's from a different party,
right,
that the policy toward Khan would change.
Okay.